Welcome to the Female VC Lab podcast. I have Katelin here. Katelin, in one line, give me your name, your title, and the name of your fund.
Can do, Barbara. I'm Katelin Holloway. I am founding partner at venture capital firm 776.
Wonderful. So what inspired you to become a venture capitalist or an investor?
I'll tell you this. I spent about a decade sitting on the other side of the boardroom table as an operator and as an executive. And at some point in that process, I realized maybe if I just move my seat to the other side, I could probably still do the work that I love, just do it at scale.
There you
And
go.
working with a number of board members and VCs throughout the years, I spent a lot of time as an operator building companies. I have deep empathy for founders and a deep understanding of what it takes to build a sustainable and thriving business. And I looked at them, the investors, and I said, what do you know that I don't? It was a short list.
Yes. Awesome. So tell me a little bit about your thesis and kind of the motivation behind like how you do your investing decisions and your thesis.
Yeah, it's interesting. 776 is actually thesis-agnostic, meaning we find the very best founders and meet them where they are with capital. And the reason we do that, so my business partner is Alexis Ohanian.
Yes.
He's been in the industry for a really long time. He himself is also a founder and operator. And his first fund out of initialized capital has done very well. And the reason that was done, two of the drivers in that portfolio were Coinbase and Instacart.
Okay.
And there is no way, if you have a thesis that is very strict, you're going to ever put both of those companies.
Well, you're never gonna get Coinbase or Instacart, right?
And moreover, if you're waiting for the crypto thesis to develop, you're not going to be first check in at Coinbase, right?
Correct.
Those checks came a lot later once the crypto thesis developed within the industry.
Yes.
So for that reason, we are thesis agnostic. And so the interesting thing, though, is, that we all have, everyone on the investing team at the firm, we all have our proclivities.
Of course.
Alexis is deeply committed to investing in sports and specifically women in sports, but he also is heavily invested in the creator economy and consumer products, et cetera. Whereas I have a deep obsession with space tech. Climate tech,
wonderful.
Deep tech. Yeah. But that doesn't mean I won't invest also in the creator economy or other things that I think are interesting. And health tech, we have a lot of women's health tech companies in the portfolio. And like I said, we find the very best founders and meet them where they are with capital.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. So what are you currently learning or listening to or reading these days?
I had a canned answer I was going to give you for this one. To sound smart.
The canned answer.
To sound like
You can say you listen to podcasts.
You know what I'm going to tell you? It's worse than that. With podcasts, you do learn something. Yours, of course, is a good one. And I was just sharing with you, I appreciate that it is bite-sized because I can actually digest it.
Yeah.
And I'm a mom to two little boys. And
it's
very
time is precious.
Yes. But the reality is I'm reading my email. Which sounds like a terrible answer, but it's the honest answer.
No,
luckily,
email can be very interesting, depending upon what you subscribe to.
Yeah, I would say, for better or worse, my inbox is very overwhelmed, but it is overwhelmed with things like pitches and interesting new companies. And so even just triaging my own inbox, I'm learning about what's being built in this world, what problems people are trying to solve. I, of course, have newsletters that I love. The last time I really read something with the intent of learning, like specifically, which I think is what this question is, I've been reading the Artemis Accords, which are policies relating to how the world is going to agree to interact with space. And space exploration and scientific development off planet.
Yes.
And they are nerdy.
That has to be a really interesting read at some level.
It's so good. And if you're a Marvel fan, anything that has the word accords in it,
there you go.
Talking about interplanetary agreements, I'm very in.
Awesome. So, Katelin, in 2 years, how do you see venture capital having changed or evolved?
That is a good question because I actually do think that we're on the precipice of some sort of change. And I think that there's a lot of people waxing poetic on what they think that shift might be. And we're here at HumanX. Obviously, AI is playing some sort of role in this.
That'll be the next question. Considering we're at HumanX, I must ask one AI question to you, Katelin.
But I think that the world of venture capital is changing because the ecosystem is changing. Yes. We have a new administration in the White House. We have AI advancing multiple processes across the board, what we're investing, how we're investing. But at the end of the day, I really think it is more fundamental than that for me, where I think that more and more venture capitalists are going to have to start providing more than just a check. Correct. You can't just show up with capital. You have to show up with real expertise. And so my bias is that because I'm an operator born and bred, as is my business partner, I think you're going to see a lot more VCs winning deals because they have deep operator experience.
Operational. And yeah, I agree. So we're here at HumanX, and this is the AI conference. So, Katelin, how are you guys looking at AI either inside your portfolio or across your portfolio? Or how are you thinking about AI investments?
Yeah, that is the topic of the season, right?
Yeah.
And I think the way we're thinking about it at 776 is that it's not a sector. It's not a play within.
It absolutely is not a sector.
It can't be. This isn't a vertical.
It's across everything.
Exactly.
It's infrastructure. That's how we look at it.
Exactly. So it's a platform shift,
Yes.
right? We're fundamentally changing the way all businesses are built. Small, large, infrastructure. But at minimum, every company is going to have an AI component, whether it's as slim as operational efficiency within an organization to deep tech and from autonomous rovers.
Or like, how are we going to get to space?
Exactly. And that's a big
leap. It's a wide amount of coverage that AI could potentially have impact in.
Exactly. And so it's very similar to the advent of the internet. And then
very true.
So we're at the earliest stages of that. And you wouldn't have guessed back when we were dialing into our 14.4 modems. Oh, what are we investing in?
That's true.
Now the internet is like I said, I have two little boys. They don't know a world without the internet.
Correct.
And they don't know a world without AI. And so
they won't.
Exactly. And so I think that the way we're thinking about it is very broad.
Okay.
And more importantly, helping educate our founders that have maybe been building for the last several years, how to make sure they can best leverage the tools. And then as we're looking at new investments, asking the questions, not just about, do you have a chat bot? But really how are you thinking strategically about how AI can build a moat within your organization?
Correct.
So I think it's everywhere.
Wonderful. So how do people contact you?
Because I was an HR lady for a really long time, LinkedIn is still my kind of home base.
Wonderful.
I'm also on X, I guess we call it now.
Oh, X.
But
X, we'll call it X.
Yeah, sure. So,
That's what it is.
LinkedIn is a good home base. So you can find me under my full real name, Katelin Holloway. Wow. And on X, my handle is Katelin_Cruz, CRUSE, which is my middle name.
Oh, okay.
Which no one knows. Everyone
will know.
When I was a baby. So I don't
there you go.
Hey, whatever, it sucked.
When it was
find me either place.
Wonderful. So thank you so much, Katelin Holloway from 776, for being my guest on the Female VC Lab podcast.